Hey guys, it's me, RegretfulTurtle, and I'm back with another video. And in this video, we are going to learn how to make this vector Christmas ornament. Okay, so let's get started. So we're going to go ahead and start off with a trapezoid tool. And at the beginning of this, I went ahead and made a stroke layer and have my color palette on the side. And so the trapezoid tool, you want to make it about that big, about that wide, and that high, that tall. And then we'll go ahead and grab our oval tool and make a circle. And then we're going to go ahead and line up that circle really well. And then after we got it lined up pretty well, we're going to go ahead and just make it a little shorter and then make a duplicate of that oval. And then we're going to go ahead and grab one of the ovals and then the trapezoid tool together and then add them together. And then we're going to turn our oval into a curve. And then we're going to go ahead and split this oval apart by using our split tool, our stroke split tool, and then we're going to go ahead and delete a few of those strokes. And so now you have an opening in your oval just like this. And our stroke pressure properties, we're going to go ahead and make the pressure about like that, point in the middle, and then bring the sides down about three spots. And then now that we have that going on, we're going to go ahead and just grab our the corners of our trapezoid and make it a little bit curved, a little bit rounded. And then we're also going to bring down the middle part of the trapezoid so it looks like it's curved downward. And then once we got all that settled, we're going to go ahead and just create some triangles on our trapezoid. And what this is going to do is give this part is the top part of the ornament, so it's going to go ahead and give it that look of it being like the ornament, the little nicks that ornaments usually have, the top piece to it. And so what we're going to do is go ahead and make 3 of these triangles, and then we're going to just make them a different size, and we're going to make them as thin as possible. So after this one, I go ahead and make a big tall one, and then what I do afterwards is I grab those 2 on the left that we just made, and then I duplicate them and I copy them and flip them around and then put them on the other side, and then I make 2 more triangles at the top like so. As you can see, you got one on the left and one on the right. The one on the left is longer than the one on the right, the top triangles. And then now we're going to go ahead and make the little string of the ornament by using our ellipse tool and making an oval and resetting our stroke, any stroke pressure we had. And we're doing the same thing. We're going to go ahead and convert it to curves and then just add a point. We're going to make it thinner. The stroke, we're going to make it a little bit thinner, and then we're going to go ahead and add a point to the left part of it, right where the outline of the other thing is at. And then we're going to go ahead and break apart these curves and then get rid of those 2 points, that middle point and then that one point that leads all the way to the back. And now you have this single point that's on the actual piece, and we're going to make another line and then just use the same stroke pressure we used previously. And then we just make it a little bit thinner. And now what we did was this gives the illusion that there is a front piece, and then it loops around to the back side on the top of the ornament. And now we're gonna go ahead and create our circle for the bottom piece of the ornament, and we're gonna go ahead and make it as big as we possibly could. So make it about this big, and we're gonna bring it down all the way, like about to that point. And we're gonna go ahead and make our stroke like about 10 points, and then we're gonna go ahead and grab a circle and our trapezoid tool and duplicate the trapezoid and the circles just in case we mess up, and bring the trapezoid up above the ellipse in the layers panel. And then we're gonna go ahead and grab the ellipse and the trapezoid that we have, and we're gonna merge them together using our add tool. And now they are merged together, so that way we could have a closed shape. And then we're going to go ahead and change the stroke pressures of our ornament, the circle part, and make it 11 points instead of the 10. Actually, we ended up making about 12 points, I believe. But the reason why we did this was because just to give the ornament a little bit more depth. And then we're going to go ahead and copy our stroke layer. And we're going to get rid of any little detail that we don't need, like all the curves and the triangles, because what we need are our actual shapes, the closed shapes like the circle and the top part of the ornament. And then we're gonna go ahead and just fill up the circle with that red color that we have. You can fill it up with any color that you want, and then the top piece we fill it up with a yellow, because the part of the ornament that way looks kind of like you know how they're usually yellow. And now what I'm going to do is make the curves of the ornament. And in this process, I'm going to go ahead and speed it up because this took me a little bit to do, and that way you guys can kind of see what I'm doing and then kind of do it on your own. So what I'm doing is just adding the details of the ornament. We're adding the design of the ornament itself. We're going to do curves. And if you need to slow down the video on this piece, go ahead and slow it down and kind of see what I do a little bit. But we're going to go ahead and make it a blue color to add some stripes to the ornament, but we're just curving them to the shape of the ornament. That way it looks 3D and like a sphere and not just a flat circle. So I make these three pieces together, and then I grab all three of them, and then I duplicate and flip them around and just move them over to the right. And then we have our finished design of the ornament. But as you can see, it takes a while to get right, so that's why I had to speed up this piece of the video. So as you can see, we duplicated and flipped them around, and now we're just gonna go ahead and call our layer color and change the color of the top piece a little bit, make it a little bit darker, more gold-like, and then we're gonna go ahead and create a new layer. And our layer, we're gonna rename it. We're gonna go ahead and rename it to shadow, because now we're gonna do the shadows on this ornament. And now we're gonna go ahead and grab the circle that we had in our stroke layer, and we're gonna go ahead and copy and paste it onto our shadow layer. And then we're gonna make a dark version of this color that we have here, of the main red color on the ellipse. We're gonna make it really dark, and then we're actually gonna make it even darker than this. We're gonna make it like almost black, that way we could get a good shadow on it. And then we're gonna duplicate it and then just move it over a little bit to the left, and then we're gonna grab these guys and just break it apart. Use our cut tool, our subtract tool, and it makes this crescent shape. And now we're gonna go ahead and just make it really dark, and then a halfway opacity. And now what we're doing is duplicating that circle again 2 times, that way we can have 3. And we're doing the same process. We're dragging it up and to the left, and then making a crescent shape. And this shape is gonna be bigger than our previous one, and a little bit lighter because now it's closer to our light source, which is coming from the top left corner of the screen. And that's where I'm imagining the light source coming from. So we're making it a little bit lighter than the first cut we did. And then we also do the same process and add a shadow to the left of the ornament. And now what we're doing is we're gonna go ahead and add a shadow on the bottom piece of the ornament. I mean on the top piece, but on the bottom of the top piece of the ornament, on that little crown. Where we add a shadow because, you know, it's a little bit bigger than the top of the ornament, and it's sitting on top, so it's going to create a little shadow and just gives the ornament a little bit more of that 3D look, that realistic look, a little more realistic. And then we add another shadow on the top of the bottom again as well, on this bottom piece of the crown. As you can see, we make a rectangle and we just curve our curves downward, and then we make it a really dark version of this, of the same color, and just curve it down. And then we lower the opacity to about 3/4 of the way, from almost being no opacity. And then now we're gonna go ahead and just make our highlights now. So in order to do our highlights, we're gonna make 2 rectangles. Sorry, my bad. We're gonna make 2 rectangles, and we're gonna make them a bit slanted, and then make the same yellow color but almost white. And then we're gonna go ahead and lower the opacity down to 3/4 full, from being full opacity, and just duplicate it, drag and duplicate, and then just make this one, the second one, a little bit lighter, and line that up so it's lined up right. So we got no colors poking out of those strokes. Make sure everything is under your strokes, because that's how we're hiding our little imperfections. And just make it a little bit lighter and a little bit thinner than the first one. And as you can see, our ornament is coming along pretty well. And so now what we're going to go ahead and do is create the top piece of the ornament, we're going to make another top highlight of it and just create an ellipse, and then duplicate the ellipse, and then just use our cut tool and cut that top part out, and then just make it full opacity. And now you got a highlight at the very top of the crown. Now what we're going to do is add another highlight on the bottom, a shadow, another shadow on the bottom right corner of the ornament, and we're going to go ahead and just make our stroke pressure the same, that triangle shape with our points, and we're going to lower the opacity a bit on it, and that way it's pretty low opacity but it's darker than where it's under. And now we're going to make another highlight here. So as you can see, we're just going to do the same process of make a stroke and curve it, but what we're going to do is on the stroke pressure, we're going to lower the left side, the left point all the way down pretty much, and we're going to go ahead and make this width of the stroke all the way to 35 points, and we're just going to bump it up all the way to almost white and as light as possible. Not as light as possible, but pretty light, that way it looks like a highlight still, but while having some opacity to it, and you can still see the bottom piece of the ornament. And what we're doing now is just positioning it differently, because I didn't like how it looked and I thought it needed to be in a different position. And then still lowered the opacity, and now we're making an ellipse, my bad. But we're gonna go ahead and get rid of the stroke, and the ellipse was that highlight was too big, so we just made it a little bit smaller and moved it down, and then we made the ellipse or the oval a little bit bigger and positioned it differently, and went ahead and just turned it into that almost white, red, pinkish, and just lower the opacity down a bit higher than that highlight. Adding another highlight to the left side or the right side of the ornament. Just duplicated the highlight and just rotated it and lowered the opacity down a bit. Okay, well that concludes our tutorial here. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked it, and if you did, please leave a like and also a comment down there, and subscribe if you haven't already. So I hope you really did enjoy it, and I would like to see what you use this for, and I hope you do use it. So yeah, thanks for watching and have a great day. See you later, and I'll see you next video. Peace.